everyone. The light is quite intermittent this morning, so we have loads of clouds, which when they come in I have the perfect lighting situation, and then the sun comes out a little bit. So if it's not too much, then I think it's tolerable. So I have a relatively small haul today from Jackson's because yeah, I didn't need to get that many things this time, but I wanted to explore a few brush options, and I find that brush mark making in art is very much fun, and it can add a lot to your art. So I have ordered a few brushes. Now all of these I will talk through at the end of the video. They are animal hair, so for those of you who don't like, you can enjoy watching the few colors that I have to share here, and then I will warn you when I'm about to start using the animal hair brushes, and then you can, you know, just go off and don't need to watch if you don't enjoy that sort of a thing. So I ordered a couple more colors. So I have ordered the Goethite, which is a brown ochre, and it's a beautiful color. I have considered it for a while, but it's one of those colors that I had on my swatch card, and I didn't think much of it because when it was sort of when I tried to kind of swatch it from the dot of the dried color, I felt like I didn't get much pigment in there. However, I have been taking some online courses, and in one of them I have seen this Goethite being used repeatedly, and I absolutely fell in love with this color, and so I decided to get it because it seems just so stunning. It's got a huge granulation to it, and it's got beautiful color pungence to it as well, because ochre sometimes can be a little bit washed out. So that's that. Red Fuchsia Genuine, that came purely from me ordering the Fuchsia Genuine. As I was ordering the Fuchsia Genuine, I did pay attention to Red Fuchsia Genuine, but then I ordered quite a few of the watercolors, and I decided to leave this one and see if I still will want to get it at a later date. And yes, I did quite enjoy the color, so I kept going back to the dot card, which is linked down below as well, and just kind of looking at it, and I thought, yes, I would like to add it to my collection. So as you can see, at this point I have quite a nice stable color collection from Daniel Smith, and there's just a few colors that I'm adding, which are like a color palette that I'm working on, and it's becoming a lot more interesting to add these like speciality colors. I will swatch out all of these colors because when the hole is not too big, I find it's quite useful to see the colors straight away, rather than doing a separate video. I had to share a lot of content lately, so yeah, I will do 2-in-1 again. Let me know what you think about this format, or do you prefer to see the whole separate to the swatch video? I'm happy to do either way. Okay, so then I have ordered the Ice Green, which is by Holbein. This is an interesting one. I have recently added, let me actually get it. So I have recently bought the Holbein 50 pencil, colored pencil set with the pastels, and this color really stood out to me, and it's a beautiful, typical teal color, and I absolutely loved it. It has that vibrancy to it and sort of like a cobalt feel. And one of my viewers has commented that Holbein also does a gouache in that color. And so I went to Jackson's, and their gouache was out of stock. But I found this one, and it's basically Duo Aqua oil. And what it's supposed to do, it's supposed to be like oil paint. I'm a bit worried to open up just in case the color starts erupting. Oh, it doesn't. Okay. So you can see, I mean, it's exactly the same thing in paint form. I love it. Without trying to be too sassy here, but it is a gorgeous color. So yeah, so this is oil paint. I had to stop there for the car noises. I don't know what it is lately. When I sit down to do a video and I'm really in the mood and, you know, can't wait to do it, then suddenly it's a motorway outside of the window. I don't know what it is. Anyway, so this is oil paint that kind of is formulated to be used with water as well. So it says here water soluble oil color. So typically oil paints are quite difficult to use because you have to have certain chemicals and liquids to clean the brushes with, to dilute the paint. You need to know the whole shebang and all the science behind it. It's way too complicated for me, so I never was into oil paints for that matter. But I do actually have an oil paint set sitting in my drawer that I bought ages ago because I wanted to try it out, but I've never did, because before even getting into it you need to prep everything, and it's just so much more complicated than watercolor or acrylics, for me anyway. But what I always loved about oil paintings and oil paint is the texture that you get once this thing dries. The other thing is oil paints take a long time to dry. I know that now you can speed up the process by using certain mediums, but typically oil paint would take like weeks to dry if it's really loaded and thick. The point here is this one. You can clean up. I don't know about the drying time. I haven't tried it yet, but you can clean it up. You can clean up your brushes with water, and you can use water to dilute the paint, and you can, from my understanding, make it a little bit more translucent. Or if you want to really pack it on and have that texture of oil paint, you can do that as well. So here's the Pigments Pg7 and Pw6. Nice and simple, and it's the perfect teal that you can think of. So we will, I will swatch these out for you now, and then later we will talk about the brushes. Let's do it. So I'm just going to, shall I do it at the back? I'll do it at the back. These are swatches anyway. I don't want this sketchbook to become, oh no, why the sun? Okay, so I had to close the curtain just so that we can actually see what's going on here. So the other thing I wanted to read for you, I'm going to now go to Jackson's website and read out to you about Goethite, because it's an interesting color. Okay, so here we go. So Goethite, on Jackson it says, I'm just reading out, Goethite brown ochre, which is PY43, is a dark tea color named after the mineralogist Johann Wolfgang Goethe. This color washes out to give a rich, warm tongue color that is perfect for capturing natural subjects. It's semi-transparent, light fastness rating is ASTM excellent, granulating, and it's low in staining. So let's give it a go. Oop, it is erupting. I think I'm just gonna go for it, to be honest with you. I'm gonna make a nice large swatch. Oh, madness today. If you wonder what brush I'm using or sketchbook, always check down below. Most likely I always try to leave that information for you there. This is way too much, I realized, so that's gonna go into the card here so that when it dries, by the way, I had this idea. I know that not all of us can always afford all these colors, and I have loads of colors by now. So the idea that I have is that I will create lovely little color palettes and squeeze out like similar to a color, like a dot card. And I thought maybe if you could let me know in the comment section whether you'd be interested, so that I know what sort of the numbers would be and how many of those cards I could make. And I would sell them on my Etsy as like dot cards of little color palettes that I put together. And that way you could really try out the color, and I'll try to put like a good amount of watercolor on there as a dot, so that you could not only swatch it out but actually have a good play with it. So the way to make colors granulate is just adding water and moving things around a little bit. The more you move it, the more things start to granulate, if it's a granulating color. So you can see, if I go into here, make it even lighter. So it does look like a tea stain. This bit here is not from the paint, it's from something else, which was at the bottom of my water pot. I'm just going to try and pick it up. There we go. Bit more water into here. You can see it granulates even when it's so lightly put in there. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to go actually change the water. It seems to be getting some floaty bits here and there. Okay, so now let's look at Red Fuchsia Genuine. So it's a Primatek color, which means it was made from real pigments and things. Okay, so let's read up on it. So Red Fuchsia Genuine is soft, reddish, dusky rose, color produced from Fuchsite source in the Brazilian mountains. This paint gives new definition to dawn skies, botanicals, and reflections. Light fastness is excellent, transparency is good, as in transparent, and then it's non-staining and it's granulating. Okay, so all of that sounds pretty good. So those colors that have sparkles in them, typically they do not kind of have this way of exceeding from the tube. So let's go in. Oh, it is pretty. Especially when they say things like, you know, it came from the Brazilian mountains. It makes it so special. So I'm going to go in, add a bit more water to this one. So this one is also granulating. I love granulating colors. Let's go in and just add a bit of a watery one. I really like this red fuchsite when it's got a lot of water and it's very sort of light mix of it. I'm going to go back into here because there was a little bit of paint. Okay, so that's quite pretty. Very, very shimmery. So I'm going to switch now my brushes, and I want to try this color out, but I'm going to squeeze it. What did we agree to do? I think I'll do it on the card here. And, or shall I? Okay, I'll do it on here just to get the feel of this. So I would assume once this dries, you can't reactivate it like a watercolor, so only squeeze out as much as you're going to use. The texture of it is amazing, by the way. So I'm going to use maybe I'll go for the brush and then I will get a better feeling of it. So I'm just going to wet my brush, but sort of take out most of the moisture and just go for it. Oh, I love the thickness. And I want to see whether it would sort of dry. Oh, that was very useful. Sorry. Okay, so this is with a bit of water. And then let's do even more water over here. So there's some sort of particles on there that I can see, which is interesting. Maybe it came from the brush, but I love it in this sort of textural sense of things. So I'm just going to wash up my brush in the water, and it seems to be doing fantastically well. So all the paint came off. Great, so this type of oil paint I can use. And again, I can include that for the textural purpose. Love the color, by the way. I mean, this is, on the camera it's coming off more blue than it is. This is a true teal color, so it's got that minty green color. And if you sort of have seen me swatch this pencil, did I say it's called ice green? I don't even remember, but I'm sure you have seen it on the tube, ice green. Yeah, it's basically the same thing here. So I'm just going to just swatch the pencil like that, and it's the same color. Okay, so this has been super, super fun. Okay, so let me bring it a bit closer so you can see the colors. Look at that beautiful granulation, stunning. I messed up this third swatch here. Even at its lightest it was giving granulation, but it's sort of, yeah, I've done a bit overworking on there. But you can definitely still have a bit of granulation even at its lightest. And then these ones, you can see they have shimmer in them. The red Fuchsite. It's really, really pretty. So in terms of here, the paint is drying. There, it probably would take a little bit of time. And yeah, so beautiful. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about brushes. So again, if you're not into real hair brushes, then you can stop watching here. For those of us who are still interested, so I've got a set here. This set is called the Shiro S-H-I-R-O set. These are by Jackson's. It's their range, and it's basically hawk hair bristle brush. So you get 5 brushes, and I had, hold on a second, I put the packaging away. So let me just read it out to you. You have the round, which is 4. So there's the round. They're long handle brushes, which typically I don't like, but I have been using this Catalyst, and I kind of enjoy sort of working on sometimes larger scales. Also I bought big sheet of paper, which is Cansons Heritage. I can't show you because it's literally would cover the entire table. Yeah, so I bought 2 sheets of those because I want to create an abstract and hang it in the downstairs in a frame, which I already bought from IKEA. It's one of those new gold thin metal frames, and so yeah, looking forward to creating some art for that. And then when you're working on large areas, having a larger handle so that you can, rather than do this, you can basically allow some abstract movements by holding further away, and so that helps to loosen up, and that's why I went for these brushes. Also, I needed a good set for acrylic paints. I don't have any good brushes for acrylic paint, so I went for these. And the hog hair obviously is quite robust, and you know, it sort of is quite thick, and I felt like it would be the perfect brush for acrylics for me. So the other ones I have is Bright 1 and 6, so that would be these two. In other words, it's the flat brushes, so 6 and 1, like that. And then we have the final one, which are called the Filbert, which I quite like, are the rounded edge, and this is the size 2 and 8. And yeah, so this set is quite useful because I feel like it's sort of giving me everything I needed. With acrylics, I don't generally use a round brush, but that's good for if you want to create some detail as it comes to a nice point. All the others, like these flats and especially the Filberts, I like using with acrylics. These also can be used with oil paints as well. So I will try to link everything down below for you. Next one is this brush here, which is, let me read it up on my invoice. So that one is Handover Hake Brush. So this is goat's hair brush, and it's for watercolor. It looks very much handmade, and I expected the goat hair to be like similar to that to what's it called, to that hog hair that I just showed you, but this is so soft. It's as soft as a makeup brush, like literally it feels like a little kitten's paw. It's just so gorgeous, and this wasn't even expensive, so I'm very surprised. And obviously you can see how thick it is, so it's going to load up loads and loads of water, and it's going to be great for these sort of washes. And I think on the website it even said that it's great for creating like a gradient flawless wash, and so that's why I got this one. Final one was really interesting. I've never seen anything like this before, and I just stumbled across by through looking at Jackson's brushes. And this is also Handover Coachliner 1. Now the hair here is ox hair. Yes, it says here ox hair mix. Not sure what that means, but basically you can see how long. I didn't know that ox had such long hair and such thick hair. Yeah, so basically it's hard to understand what this brush does, but it's fantastic for lines, and it obviously, because it's so long, it keeps a lot more water than a liner brush would do, because a liner brush typically would be a lot shorter, and so you could make a line and then you finish the water, and you know, can't have like equal distribution of watercolor that way. But with this brush, I have been playing with it yesterday, and this is the sort of thing you can create here. I'll just give you a little close up. So you can see that the color doesn't change much throughout. I did a lot of movements here, and okay, like here maybe it's a little bit lighter than right in the beginning, but still the thickness of the line and things. It's also fantastic for letting go a little bit and being a bit more loose. So for instance, if I show you this mark making here, now this has been created by using, what's this? No, that's not that one. No, it was this one, wasn't it? Yeah. Oh yes, so Pro Art Sword Brush. So with this one you can get a bit more water, you can create thin lines, thicker lines, you can even lay it on the side and create these sort of larger spreads of watercolor. With this one you just go ahead and kind of, once you wet it, it's not as like robust, it sort of is quite flimsy and bends, so you literally have very little control over it. It sort of becomes a fun play of kind of dragging this brush through your artwork. I enjoyed it tremendously. I had no idea obviously how it's going to work before I ordered it, but it's definitely a lot of fun to create little doodles and abstracty brush marks. It's very, very like special brush. I wish there was a synthetic brush for those of you, if you're still watching, who enjoy non-animal hair brush, but yeah, at the moment there's just not equivalents to this. Yes, so that's it for today. I hope I didn't forget to mention anything, and thanks for watching, and see you soon.